Everyone abandoned Christ. Some betrayed him, others denied him, others made false accusations against him. And many shouted, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" They achieved what they wanted. They reached their goal. They killed the one who was light. Were they happy now? Were they joyful? Or did they return to their homes slowly, with their heads down? What were they thinking now? What did Judas think, who went to take his own life? What did Peter think, who had denied Jesus 3 times? What did the other apostles think, who also abandoned the Lord, except John? And the Pharisees, who plotted everything and arranged the false accusations against Jesus to have him killed. What were they thinking now that they had succeeded in killing him? Pilate, who preferred to keep his political position and not risk it, and for that reason, even without wanting to, he still ordered Jesus to be killed. What is Pilate thinking now in these moments? And the people who condemned Christ without reason and without evidence, what were they thinking now? Hey guys, this is Elizabeth, and you're listening to Missionaries of God's Love. Today we are talking about the darkness of life without God. On this Holy Saturday of the Paschal Triduum, this is a time to meditate on what life without Christ means. Life without God. In those 2 consecutive days, they had killed the Lord. The world was left without God. Their lives, without Christ, without the light of the world, became darkness. There are 2 kinds of people who live without God. 1, those who have never lived with God to begin with. These are the people who have never heard about God. They did not grow up going to church. These people have never heard about Jesus be preached to them. And this is because many Catholic Christians are afraid to talk about God out of fear of being criticized. And so they cause many people to never hear about God or His church. Those are the people who live in darkness, but they don't realize it because they have never lived in the light. And those who have never experienced something or lived with God, they don't miss it because they don't know what it is. They don't know what it's like. And then there are those who have lived with the Lord for a time, who have followed Christ, and then they abandon Him. Those who saw God's works in their lives, like those who experienced Jesus' healing, who were fed by Him, who saw Him raise the dead, who heard about His eloquent and beautiful teachings, full of guidance and wisdom, and yet those people decided to abandon Christ. Those indeed will miss the light, and they will suffer more. Guys, a life without God is a life of darkness. And I know this because I have personally experienced this myself. And maybe you have too. I also know of people who live with God, who have a personal relationship with God, and who have decided, despite not being perfect, to follow Christ, to have a real relationship with Jesus, and to commit living a life with God. We have people like that in our communities of missionaries of God's love. People who are seeking to follow the Lord, to follow Christ, and we see how their lives change for the better. Suddenly, their lives gain purpose. Their work and studies become different. Now, there is a more special reason for them to do all of those activities. They become builders of the kingdom of God. Because in your work, you can build the kingdom of God by giving testimony and sharing the Lord's invitation through your example and your words. People who live in the light, who have Christ, know exactly what I'm talking about. Those who don't know what I'm talking about, even if they're believers, it's because they still haven't had that encounterment with Christ, with the Lord, with Jesus. Guys, I highly don't recommend anyone to abandon God or Jesus, or to fail to make an effort to seek Him and find Him. How sad it is to live a life without God. What a dark world the worldly world is. A world where we just care about our social media. A world that is hungry for ambition, of power. A world where it's full of egoistics. People who only care about themselves. A world full of hedonists who only seek for their pleasure and their gratification and what is beneficial for them. People who only seek to have fun and to be entertained. A world of materialistic people who only want more and more money. What sad those lives are. May you and I never fall into that. I invite you guys to continue talking with God and meditate with Jesus at every moment. Here are some reflection questions to meditate on. Do I want to be with Him, to live with Him for the rest of my life? Or do I want to live without Him? Do I want to be a true follower, disciple of Christ? Or do I simply want to be a believer who fulfills the bare minimum of religion requirements, but I'm not really interested in taking on a deeper love or a deeper commitment to Jesus? Who am I? Where do I want to go this Holy Week? Where do I want to go this Holy Week? What do I plan to decide? I invite you guys to continue meditating with Jesus. The good news is that we can always grow with the Lord. Never stay satisfied where you are. Never get stuck where you are. Following Christ is always walking forward with Him. Just a quick reminder that those who are local here in Southern California, you guys can join us for our Easter Vigil at 8 p.m. in Tustin, California. Our full address is 655 South B as in Boy Street, Tustin, California, 92780. I hope you guys can join us. Now, I invite you guys to stay with God for another 20 minutes and tell God, "Speak to me, O Lord, for your servant is listening."